number one is, if you are someone who is constantly, doing a lot of public speaking and stuff like that, this message is for public speakers. 21 things that you can consider to keep your business and your brand relevant. One is looking at your business model, looking at your message, your story. What aspects of it can you turn and transition into a virtual side? Meaning, is there some products that you can create? That goes into number two. Out of your message as a public speaker, take this time to think about, what kind of products can I create that connects with my message? What kind of products, love you too, can I create that connects with my message? So a product that created with my message was my vision board kits. A product that created with my message was my books. A product that created with my message was, my t-shirt line, right? Like this one says secure the bag, right? I don't think Facebook could see it. Now y'all seeing my pajamas. But, so what products can you begin to create? So number two is looking at the product side. Number three, when you're looking at yourself and you're a public speaker and you need to keep your brand relevant, tap into podcast. Not just thinking about hosting one, that's number four, but number three, most importantly, take some time. Like I use Wednesdays as like my marketing days. That's my outreach day. Take some time to reach out to podcasts. This is your time to start building up your relevancy in the marketplace by tapping into some podcasts, seeing who is interviewing people, and put yourself out there, pitch yourself. So podcasting is number three. Amen, somebody? Take some time to pitch yourself. Yeah, you are the brand. Become your own client. One of the best things that I could have done as an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant is becoming my own client. As someone who does a lot of marketing and branding and consulting for other entrepreneurs, there was a time where I had to stop at my brand. And guess when it happened? It happened when the market went down. And when the market went down the first time, I think this was like in 2009, that's when my business skyrocketed. And the reason why is because I looked at all of the things that I wasn't doing for myself, but was doing for others. So I became my own client. I started to write up my own press releases. I started to pitch myself. And so I want you to think about that. So number three is pitching yourself to podcast. Yes? Is somebody writing this down? So one, the virtual transition part of your business. Number two, creating products. Three, pitching yourself. Yes, pitching yourself to podcasts. Four, creating your own podcast. Creating your own podcast. It's easy. Go to soundcloud.com, create your own podcast. Go to itunes.com, set up a creator account on iTunes. Be free. Yeah? Number five, of course, I'm going to say it till the cows come home. And we just, some of us who was on Facebook Live just heard from my girl, Robin. Start writing your book. Start writing a how-to book based on your message. Now, when you're looking at your story and you're looking at the message that you've been sharing up until now, take this time to do a revamp. Take this time to do a recreation, a reinvention of your message and your story. There's some other meat inside of who you are and what is giving you strength, and based on the things that you were able to overcome, that you can begin to infuse in your story and create an amazing how-to book. Create an amazing training. That's number six. But going back to the book, writing your book. Can you write 100-page journal? Can you write 100-page planner? Can you write 100 ways to do, 100 ways to get out of a bad relationship? 21 ways to train your teens. Is there something that you can do? But here's the key. Think about the greater cause. Think about the impact that you expect to have. And then you get into the creation process of whether it's products, podcasts, books, trainings, right? You name it. But think about the greater cause. Do you need to, some of us have been telling the story of the grown woman. We may need to dive into that little girl at 5 years old and then creating a children's book for all the 5-year-olds. We may need to tap into, were you bullied in middle school? Can you write a book or help the next young girl who's in middle school become more confident and have more self-esteem and learn how to study and learn how to show up for herself? So some of us have been telling the story of what has happened within the past 10 years. But I urge you to go back to the past 20, 30 years. And because that's where the real strength came from. It came from you being that girl that maybe everybody believed in, but you didn't believe in yourself. Talk to that young girl. That's a whole series right there. All right, somebody's about to get me I'm about to send some invoices if y'all don't write this stuff down. Number 6 is with the book, but number 7 is the training. Now, last night, or was it Monday, I shared 101 ways to make bank in bed. And one of the ways that I received so many inboxes about, people wanted my input on how to help them create trainings from their story, trainings from the work that they've done. So public speakers, if you are out there and you know that your story resonates with people, trust and believe there's a training on transitioning out of trauma. There's a training on transitioning out of education. What happens after you graduate college? What happens in that freshman year? So there's a training that you can put together and offer, and cha-ching. So these are things that us as speakers, public speakers, you should consider thinking about. Even entrepreneurs who's listening now. Amen. Let me get a 1 on Facebook if you are relating to this, if this is making sense. Let me get a 1 on Instagram if this is making sense to you. Number 7, so you have your book, your training. Number 7 is I want you to go look at some of these online, all magazines have an online version, right? They have an online version, online content. You as a public speaker still need to be seen and heard. It is easy for you to fall to the wayside at this point because you don't know what to do, or you're caught up in doing all the other things. If you're spending more time sharing COVID-19 and less time on maybe some input that you can lend to your market that they need to hear right now, when it pertains to staying at home and cabin fever and building their business or maintaining life at home, or having all your family, or not being so busy, people are going through some real things. And as an expert, someone who has taken the mic and has been compensated to speak on stages, it is your duty as a leader to also share some of the great ways and things that they can do to cope. Some of the great ways. How are you coping? What is that? How can your message resonate with them? So, for me, I get a lot of, Lucinda, how are you dealing with this? How are you dealing with this? But y'all know my story. I've been in the joint for a couple of years before, so this being home with my family, eating some real food, going to the bathroom when I want, I'm able to cope. My mindset is on it. I'm like, all right, let's get some pull-ups going on. You know what I'm saying? So my mindset is different, but I have to realize there's some people who are not used to being in the house. I'm a home-based business and been doing this for 2006. So me as a leader, I have to think about what is the messages that my people need to hear. You need to hear that this is not the end. You need to hear ways that you can begin to start building and putting your mind in creation mode. I want you to be a producer. So number 7 is thinking about what you can produce right now in your position. What can you produce? How can you position yourself to be the producer and the creator of this thing? And I'm sorry, that was number 7. Number 8 is with these online magazines. Going to, Essence Online, Black Enterprise Online, Forbes Online. Media has not stopped. You just seen, I shared a link with me being listed inside of Forbes. So media has not stopped. So what that says is you can go to these online magazines and put in how you can contribute to their magazine to keep yourself relevant. They already have a ready-made market of hundreds of thousands of readers. How about you putting together an article for them to read, a tip sheet for them to read, lend your input and expertise for them to read, and just start pitching yourself to these magazines. Almost every online magazine, and you could just put in your genre and you'll find a whole host of them, from pet lovers to bachelors to stay-at-home moms. There's a magazine and an article for everything, and you can find how to submit your work, and that's where you would submit your work. So think about getting connected with these online magazines and syndicate your work. Yeah. Number 9, which I love, is take some time to create your YouTube channel. If you have not set up your YouTube channel, I don't care if you have 2 videos up there, set up your YouTube channel, public speakers. This is the time. Set up your YouTube channel. Everybody is looking for content and information. Why shouldn't they come to you? Give your audience something to watch. Give your audience something to learn from. Make it fun. Make it relatable. It doesn't have to be down and sad, and just make it relatable. Make it fun. Make it content rich. Show yourself. The next thing is, why I have this crown on? Because I feel like it. That's why. No one didn't even ask that, but someone did ask that. But just a comment. Listen, we always keep our crowns on. I have a whole nother one. I should change. I could change up during the show. Yes, see my pajamas. So just need to just put on all the crowns. That's how I'm feeling. The way these times are. So 10 is setting up your YouTube channel. 9 is setting up your YouTube channel. 10 is reaching out to some people in your Rolodex, some past business partnerships and relationships. Reach out to them, see what they have going on, tap into what they're connected to. You'll be surprised with all of the work that other people are doing and planning to do, even from the end of 2020 to 2021. I just finished being on this HER Summit with the GSE, the Global Economy Startup. And it was a whole series of like over 100 speakers. And just hearing some of the awesome projects that are on the line. Microsoft is looking to do business with people. Google is looking to still do business with people. Business has not stopped, public speakers. Business has not stopped. But now is the time for us to stay focused. If you are focused and in alignment, you'll get some business. Yeah, right from your home. Hello, bank in bed. So 10 is looking at some of these past partnerships and friendships that you have in your Rolodex. When is the last time you reached out to, so some of the people who have hired me to speak in 2017, I'm reaching, how are you? What are you doing? What are you up to? You'll be surprised on the new initiatives they have going on. I'm still keeping in contact with my sponsors, and so those things are important. Number 11, as a public speaker, work on your content. Think about creating some new keynote presentations. Think about how you're going to, is your presentations going to have props? Do you need to do new PowerPoint slides? Now is the time to do it, not when they're asking for it, right? Now is the time to work on your PowerPoint slides. Now is the time to start working on your presentation. Now is the time to start ordering your props. Oriental Trading is still in business. Shindigs is another place that I go when I order my props and stuff. They're still in business. Shindigs with a Z, Shindigs and Oriental Trading. So now's the time to think about, what kind of props can I infuse in my presentation moving forward? And what story do I need to tell? If I flip the next chapter, what needs to be told right now? Not so much of the accolades, more of the authentic and vulnerable side. What is going to teach someone something, and what are the props that I can use? So hone in on your presentation. Hone in on your presentation skills. I say work on your presentation skills. Like, this is the time. Record yourself. Rewrite your keynote presentations. Rewrite some of what your workshops would be. That's going into number 13. Am I up to 13 right now? Rewrite your presentations. So what's that? 11, Robin? Okay, so 11 was new content and working on your presentation skills and your props. 12 is your team. Thinking about who needs to show up moving forward. Based on your skill sets, based on what worked and didn't work. If you were able to do an assessment on what worked and what didn't work in the past as a public speaker, Think about the team that you need. Do you need someone to help you book speaking engagements? Do you need someone to help you rewrite your contracts? That's also going into number 13, your contracts. But, think about your team. Who needs to show up? Do you need a marketing manager? Do you need a social media manager? Do you need to work on, do you need a new graphic designer? So think about the team that you desire to have, the team that you need. And as a public speaker, your team may look different for you as a public speaker than the team that works on your business. So the team for my public speaking business is quite different than the team that works on my business. The team for my public speaking, that's, who's in charge of the printouts, reviewing my PowerPoint, making sure my schedule is set, making sure my flight is booked, making sure my hotel is booked, making sure I receive deposits, making sure that payment has been made, making sure that I have books that I've ordered and they're either shipped to the hotel or they're shipped to me. So it's a whole different team. 13 is taking a look at your contracts as a speaker. Review your contracts, review your agreements. Do they need to be updated? If you don't have a rider, maybe you want to work on a rider. Your rider kind of outlines the things that you expect and don't expect. So, with your rider, you can, you may have what you desire in your green room. If you need a makeup artist, this is where you could be a diva if you want. I don't particularly have a rider, but I have reviewed some riders, and there's nothing wrong with having a rider. Know your worth and your value. If you're going to go up there rocking the mic, then you can definitely have a rider as a public speaker. So once again, here is 21 things that every public speaker should consider for right now during this reinvention phase and recalibrating phase in your business. I'll start with 1. I talked about virtual transitioning. 2, products that you can create. Think about those things. 3, consider pitching yourself to podcasts. Now's the time to get as much visibility as you can while everybody and everything is down and paying attention and everyone is looking for content. 4, consider creating your own podcast using SoundCloud, creating an account on iTunes as a creator. Number 5, think about a book that you can write, a book, a workbook, a planner, a journal, an affirmation book, a prayer book. Yeah? You could definitely have a prayer book. I know some of y'all had some serious prayers that you said for your children. Believe, trust, and believe. Those can go in a whole prayer book for a mom. Relationship prayers, right? Some of y'all got your man off of prayers that kept your relationship together for some prayers that can help someone. 6, I talked about training, creating a training module. 7, think about being a producer in this phase. Think about being a creator and a producer of your own content. 8, online magazines, tapping into some online magazines and being a contributing writer, syndicating your work on some of these online magazines, advertising, yes, in some of this online space. Number 9, YouTube, getting on and creating your own YouTube channel. I don't care if you have like 1 or 2 videos up there, create a YouTube channel. That's important. 10, partnerships. There's some partnerships that you can begin to create that you haven't tapped into. Going back and following up and following through some of the past partnerships that you've made. 11, I talked about your presentation skills and creating new content. Looking at your past workshop material, looking at your past presentation titles. Messages that I shared in 2009 may not be relevant now, right? Messages I shared in 2013 may not be relevant now. So think about revamping and what you can include in your presentation and what that looks like. 12, I talked about your team and who needs to show up on your team. 13 was your contracts and your agreements and your rider. Looking at your contract, you can Google a speaker contract. You can ask me, I'll send you what a speaker contract looks like. Speaker contracts, speaker agreements, speaker riders, what those look like. Revamp, have all of your things laid out. Number 14 is your brand position as a speaker. Your brand position as a speaker. 1, do you have your speaker one sheet created? You don't know what that is, Google it, or just send me a DM. I'll send you a copy of what that looks like. But your brand position as a speaker, what does your speaker one sheet look like? Does it share what message that's relevant now? Does it share any new testimonials? Does it share past clients that you spoke for? Right? Some of us will look over the fact that you spoke to the Boys and Girls Club, you spoke at the YMCA, you spoke at Harlem Hospital, you spoke at this particular college. All of that matters when a college is looking to hire you to speak, when a school is looking to hire you to speak, when an organization is looking to see if you've worked with any Fortune 500, 100 companies. So don't take it lightly. Yeah. So your brand position, how's your speaker one sheet? Do you have any clear headshots? Not the ones that you did and you posted and it looks fuzzy. I'm talking about ones that can be resized as large as they need to be and as small as they need to be, right? So look at some of those images that you have. Is there any features that you've been on that you haven't listed? Public speakers, put that out there. Put that on your brand position. You want to show how great how great you have been. Toot your own horn. So when you're looking at your brand position, now is the time to start sharing some old snippets of presentations that you've done. Little 1-minute clips here, 5-minute clips there. Put some on the IGTV, put some on Facebook Lives, upload someone to your YouTube, turn some into audio and put them into SoundCloud. So now is the time to take and reach back out to some of these places that you spoke at. And if they recorded you, ask them, hey, do you have a recording of my past presentation? I would love to have a copy of it. Now is the time to create your speaker reel. And that goes into 15, but your speaker reel. So your speaker reel, REEL, that's where you'll show snippets of past presentations, whether you did a workshop, a panel, 5 minutes on the stage, whether you pitched yourself, right? You put together your speaker reel. Even if you have some of your best YouTube, best Instagram live videos or your Facebook live videos, your speaker reel is just to give people an example of how you sound, your energy that you bring, your message that you share, what you look like, right? And do you sound like a robot and somebody who's reading? Or are you just real? Are you a real person? Can you flow? Can you go? Do you have something that you do that is real quirky? Do you have a prop? Oh, she wears crowns. I like that. So think about your speaker reel and how you can create that on YouTube. You have the time now to learn how to put that together, baby. But if not, you can put it out there and say, hey, I need somebody to create a speaker reel for me. And that goes with 14 and 15. Your brand position is all your branding items together. Do you at least have a t-shirt with one of your main slogans? Do you have a hat with your main slogan? Do you have a journal with your main slogan? Even if you have cue cards, right? That have, I don't have mine here, but even if you have cue cards that just show your brand. So as a speaker, one of the things that I think is so dope is when you have like your message may be here in bullet points, right? On this side, but on the back of it, guess where you can order these from? Vistaprint for like $10 for 100 of them. But on the back would just have your logo. So on the back, it has like, I can't show you now because it's in the room, but it has like the big ask on the back of it. So when I'm holding it, everybody, all they see is the big ask, right? So say if this was my brand, it says Petty as Advisory, no chill. But on the back of this speaker card is my bullet points that I'm sharing from the stage. So you don't see me holding my phone. You don't see me holding a little scrappy sheet of paper. And I have a lot of videos where you just see me holding a scrappy sheet of paper. But now what's important as a brand to have where my brand is on the front and on the back is some of my bullet points or some notes that I've taken down that I'm sharing. And as I'm on stage holding it, or if you're on your video holding it, it's your cue card. Where do you think this idea comes from? Talk show host. Go to Tamron Hall. Go to Wendy Williams. What do you see them holding? Their cue card. Speakers, get your cue cards. Every time you speak, whether you're doing a live or you're doing a YouTube or you're on stage, get that. So part of 14, I'm sorry, I'm going back to 14, is making sure your brand position is tight. And you have your elements that got your stuff branded. Everyone needs to have at least a t-shirt with your branded message on it. Gives to whatever the message is, have a t-shirt with it. Just all you need is one. Nobody's saying you got to open up a whole Shopify line, but if you do, that's even great. But just got to at least have a t-shirt and a mug, maybe a bag, a folder, your cue cards. Yeah. So get your brand position. 15 was your speaker reel. All right. How we doing so far? We good? All right. If you need information on speaker one sheet, send me a DM. Say I need the speaker one sheet. If you need information on what a writer looks like, send me a DM. I'll send you what that looks like. Just give me an email address. If you need information on how to create, and I call this you need a 10, 30, 60. Well, really a 10, 30, 10, 20, and a 45. 10, 20, and a 45. This is number 16. And I will also share with this. So 10-minute presentation. You should have a presentation that is 10 minutes long. You should have a presentation. Honestly, it's a 3. It's supposed to be a 3, 10, 20, 45. So you always have a 3-minute presentation, because sometimes people just get way out of whack. They say, oh, you got a few minutes to speak, share the stage. Have your 3-minute power mic drop ready. 3 minutes. Boom. My name is so-and-so and so-and-so and so. Da, 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 da. This is what I do. This is who I do it for. Next time you see, da, da, this is what I believe in. This is why I believe it. And this is the work that we're doing to get it done. If you want some more information and would love to help the cause, please join. So have your 3-minute powwow, drop the mic. Right? So when you do your 3-minute powwow, so when they say they give you 5 minutes to speak, you do your 3 minutes, then you got 2 minutes to play. 10-minute presentation. 10-minute presentation. If someone gives you 20 minutes to present, prepare 10 minutes. The reason why I say prepare 10 for a 20 is because if you prepare a 20 for a 20-minute presentation, you're going to go over and you may piss the organizers off. So take this time to hone in on your timing. Time management of your presentation. This trains you to do quick 1-minute videos. This trains you to do quick 3-minute videos. This trains you to do a 10-minute video, and it allows you to have content based. So in your 10 minutes, have a quote, have a story. Y'all writing this down? A quote, a story, some bullet points that are action steps, and a reminder. A quote, a story, some bullet points, and a reminder. So you may want to give 3 bullet points. Here's 3 things that I'm going to share with you. Here's 3 things I don't want you to forget. And your reminder. So I want you to remember what I shared in my story. And based on my story, the 3 action steps that you should take today is 1, joining my network so that you can become, and so you have your 3-minute, your 10-minute. Your 10-minute is for a 20-minute presentation. Your 20 minutes is when they tell you they're giving you a 30-minute time frame for your presentation. And 45 minutes is your knockout, drag out keynote presentation. That 45 minutes, you got a full keynote, prepare for 45 minutes. 45 minutes worth of tips, information, some vulnerability, some authenticity, highlight a few challenges that you were able to overcome. Don't stay there. Because in a 45-minute presentation, which will give you maybe an hour keynote, don't count that 15 minutes. You want that 15 minutes for something else. You want that 15 minutes to do an upsell. You want that 15 minutes to talk about your book. You want that 15 minutes. I need that 15 minutes because I just like to play. I got 5 minutes on stage just for dancing, just because I like to hear music. Then it's another 5 minutes when I get ready to leave because I'm like, y'all hurry up, come to the back. Books is in the back. Right. And so if you know that you are an energy driver speaker, I'm an energy driven speaker, then you need to have 15 minutes just to the side for the energy. If you are someone who's a content driven speaker, then you also need to leave those 15 minutes for questions and answers, because 9 times out of 10, that content is going to be so full for people that they're going to have to literally get their brain to wrap around it. And I see a lot of people who talk about finances and accounting, those type of topics. They need you need that extra 15 minutes, because people are like, so what do I do if I didn't pay taxes? since I started, and so you got to have time for that. But you have your 3 minute, your 10 minute, 10 minute. It's for your 20 minute is for a 30-minute presentation. 45-minute is for your keynote. Always include a quote. Always include some form of tips. Always include, or some advice, some how to. Always include some vulnerability. If you have a special skill set, think about how you want to open up or how you want to close. Now is the time to think about that. So the next time we want to prepare for you to get called on and be booked and solid, right? And so we want you to prepare whether you're doing this, because you should be able to do this virtually or live. There's still some virtual money being passed around for speaking. Yes. So I'm looking to sign a contract for a virtual speaking gig that I'm getting paid for. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. Right. And so there is some virtual opportunity, but you have to showcase that right now as a speaker. So number 16 was about your time frame, your 3 minute, your 10 minute, your 20 minute, or 45 minute, condensing your keynote down. So you're going to work backwards. Take the long version and bring it down. Number 17 is your bio. Who the hell are you? And why should people care? Please just don't start out with all the fluff. So I was some cum laude and laude sum cum, and don't just start out with all of that. Okay. Don't just start out with, so when in my former life, I was Joan of Arc. No, don't, start with the whole gamut of how awesome you are and how we all should be blessed to be in your royal presence. No, start out with some knockout, drag out stuff. You know what I'm saying? So think about your bio and what's really going to grab the attention of those who are watching. So yes, you should have your accolades, but those accolades should be the power punch that hits before you get on the stage. So first let them hear, and this is who she is, and this and this and this, and she was able to do this, and she helped, blah, blah, blah. So let's hear how you helped feed the children and how you help some families in Ghana get uniforms and books, and how you know what I'm saying? Because you came from a poverty stricken background. We don't got to start out with the fact that you were driving all foreigns right now. Okay. So, think about your bio. If you need help with constructing your bio, DM me. I'm giving this to you. Yes. Yes. Start with your name is Peaches. Right. Somebody said that. Y'all remember that my name was Joan of Arc in my former life, but then it was my name is Peaches and I'm the best. The youngins don't remember that, y'all. Facebook is showing y'all out. Instagram. Y'all don't remember that. But going back to my points. 17, work on your bio. There is 16 questions you should ask yourself for your bio. And I'm not going to share them all now, but I will share the tips on them. If you ask me for them, I'll give them to you. Here's a sidebar. What's dope is I have all of this in an academy, right? I have my own academy where you can just literally get all of this. So I don't have to just keep sending you all this stuff, but I have an academy, and I will post a link for the academy. I have something called How to Become a Sought After Speaker, how to, just do public speaking made easy. And there's every template that you can think about that's there. All you have to do is literally copy and paste and remove my name. It shows you how to be a sponsored speaker, a paid speaker, a free speaker that still gets paid, a speaker sharing her message, a speaker who's sharing their story, a speaker who doesn't know how to have props and how to create props. It goes through everything. It's literally hours and hours of content and video that you can watch. But also what's more important is you have the downloads, and that's in my academy. If you simply just want information on the academy and how, to be the sought after speaker and how to public speaking made easy, but getting all the templates and documents, it's $27. You get hours, maybe over 6 hours worth of content, speaker contracts, agreements, sponsorship tips, all of that. And I'll send you the link, and I'll post the link here on how you can just access it for $27. I mean, you can't beat that. The program was $97, but I know we trying to get our lives together. So 17 was your bio. 18, let's talk about let's talk about the stage presence in terms of your attire, in terms of your look. And that should kind of go into your brand positioning, but your stage presence is everything. Meaning, is there a particular song you like to hear? Are you going to open up with a poem? Is there any specific set of skills that you have that you can bring to the table to add to your stage presence? Not only what you can bring to the table is your stage presence, but do you have, going back to what I was talking about with number 14, your brand positioning, do you have your step and repeat with your lovely face on it? And the fact that it says author, speaker, philanthropist, whatever else, top chef, whatever else your thing is, do you have your banner created? If not, think about that banner. What props can you bring on stage that hones in on your marketing? So it's not just what's on, or at your vending table if you have a table as a speaker, but what can you bring to represent you? Yeah, as your stage presence, but taking a look at your look. What is your look that you want to have? What is your feel? Are you opening up in a song? Are you opening up in poetry? Can you sing? I mean, really sing. Do you want to rap? Like one of the speakers today, he ended his presentation that I was a part of with the Her Future Summit. He ended his presentation it's with a rap. And I think it was just so dope because he had his music playing. We was like, okay. And he just dropped a couple of hot bars real quick. And we was like, oh my gosh. But it makes it memorable. So although I was listening to his presentation, which was really insightful, and it wasn't just a boring PowerPoint, right, that looked like everyone else's. He had a unique way of showing his PowerPoint. And then he ended in a rap so you can remember what he does and why he does it. I said, hot dog. I'm about to put together, you know what I'm saying? So think about how you can bring your stage presence to the table. Listen, I come on the stage with dancers. I'm extra. That's my stage presence. I come on the stage, we have dancers, we have drummers, we have a whole band. Yeah, I'm extra, right? That's the stage presence, right? But so think about yours. What is your stage presence? Is your stage presence even having maybe someone open up for you? Right? Having a spoken word person come before you. Is there any set of skills that you have? And here's the thing, your stage presence also can include, how you get nervous when you're speaking on stage? You want to know how to edge some of that nervousness out? Is direct the energy on the audience, even when you're doing video. So when I say write that down, that gives me time to regroup and breathe. So same thing you can do live. It's the same thing you could do virtual too. So when you're on stage, think about what is your breathing moments that you're going to infuse into your stage presence. All right, I need everybody should have my handout that's listed from 1 to 10. Does everyone have one? Raise your hand. So of course not everybody's going to have one. So they're going to have their hands raised. And then, of course, there's some people who just want a couple more, even though they have one, right? They just need a little extra stash, so those are your perfectionists in the audience. But think about that break, and what you can have them do to reflect their eyes from you and their energy from you onto themselves. That works like wonders. It allows you to regroup, stop shaking. Right, there's one time I was on the stage when I first started, my leg was one leg just shaking like a dog. I was like, oh my gosh, like my leg was just shaking and looked like I was ready to crack my heel, but I couldn't stop, so I couldn't leave the podium. And I'm the type of speaker that I love to move around from the podium. So that goes into my next one, is 19, your comfortability, your comfort zone and your uncomfort zone. So after your stage presence, you think about what you need, and even those kind of things you could get from Vistaprint. All it is you go to Canva, put your logo on top of something, do your number list or whatever things you want them to do, and just have those bad boys ready and printed. So be prepared for your next presentation. Have it ready in the PDF so you can give it out for free for people. But 19, we going into, oh man, I switched 19. Okay, so we'll go back to 19. Hold on. So 19 is all about your, you know how they say for brick and mortar businesses, location, location, location is everything. Your number 19 is think about now as a speaker, how are you going to gather your audience? How are you going to, everybody who has heard you speak in the past and all of the people who are going to hear you in the future, how are they going to stay connected as a tribe? Have you built that tribe right now, or are you still waiting for your next speaking gig? Have you started that? So if you haven't created a space or a hub for your people who have heard your message in the past and those who have heard it are about to hear it in the future, create a space for them. Here's the deal. Those past events that you spoke at, those people still have the list of attendees. So you can reach out to them and say, hey, I would love to offer, this goes into 20, something free for them. I would love to offer something free to the network. I'm not sure if you have something that you're offering to your past attendees, but I would love to offer something free to those who've attended and listened to my presentation and my session. Do you mind sharing this? They don't mind sharing anything free as long as they don't feel like you're going to spam them and con their people out, right? They may not want to share the list, the email list, but by you giving it to them, they'll do it. And so, but you have to have a hub and a place for people to connect. Yeah. So creating that hub and then offering something free. Free is not free. There's some speaking engagements that I spoke at for free, but because I had my back end so set up with products, trainings, all these things that I'm mentioning to you now, either it opened up a door for, you know, my three: visibility, credibility, and profitability. Anytime I hit the stage, whether it's for a fee or for free, and whether it's virtual, there's three things: visibility, credibility, and profitability. What have I built from just doing this virtual, this free live right now? Visibility. There's people who are watching and they're like, oh shoot, this is good points. And whether it's a small amount of people or a large amount, there's people who are gaining some insight, but it's giving me visibility. And guess what? I'm saying share, share, share. So they've shared with their network, hopefully, and they're like, oh no, you got to get these speaker tips from Lucinda. More visibility. Credibility. There's people out here who will say, you know what, I need to work with her, right? Or I want to interview her, or I need her on my platform. So that builds with credibility. You got to be, so when you know that you're delivering content and you know that you are providing some rich information to your specific audience, this is niche focused information. I said this is 21 ways, 21 things that speakers should consider doing right now to continue to stay relevant. That's content. So there's a lot of speakers right now who's wondering, where's my next check coming from? How can I stay relevant? How can I stay upbeat? What are some of the things that I should create? Create all the back end things that you didn't have. Create all the back end things that Tony Robbins have that you don't have. You want to measure your list to somebody's list? Don't measure it to mine. Don't measure it to the speaker that you just hired. Measure it to somebody who's like way out in the stratosphere financially and visibility wise. So you want to look at, okay, what does Tony Robbins got lined up that I don't? Okay, he's got major partners. Bing, let me write that down. I need major partners. He's got 5 books. He got 7 books. 5 of them talk about how-to information. Let me work on my books that talk about how-to information. He has a live training and a virtual training. He coaches these type of people. Well, let me coach these type of people. You know, so we have success leaves clues. So measure up. If you in this playing field and you want to play at that top notch, measure up to some of these top dogs, these sharks in the industry, and you'll see what is missing from your brand elements that you can use to build. Yes, amen. So 19 was the hub, 20 was creating something free, and 21, y'all ready for 21? How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? I just want to go back, even with stage presence. And if you're virtual, Your presence means everything. Not saying that you got to come on here, beat to the gods, and you got to look, you have to have, the fancy, fancy, schmancy thing going on. But please look like your message. We're going to sit there for a minute. Look like your message. Your stage presence online, virtually, and in person. I need someone to say look like your message. Can someone type it in? Look like your message. I'm not talking about design or anything, because I live in New York, so I see people get designer right down at the Ching Chong, right there down in China Place downtown, and that Fendi look just as good as the Fendi that they get on Fifth Avenue. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the rented cars and all of that. I'm talking about look like your message. You cannot go online if you are a leader of leaders and a teacher of teachers, and you're coming across and you are asking to get sponsorship from Delta and Nike and Johnson and Johnson and Dove, and you're looking to be a sponsor speaker by Ford or Nissan or Toyota or Lexus, and you're saying this is where your next level is, we have to come with a level of clean it up. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care what you have to do. Look, just make it look clean. Just make it look clean. We can't, just sitting there, like, so we can't do that. We can't be walking around like, and so what I was doing was, I see some videos and I'm like, wait a minute, did they just ask me last year to speak at my event? Delta will stop the check immediately. So we got to be careful, right? How we're presenting ourselves. Public speakers, I'm talking about public speakers, be careful how you present yourself, whether it's virtual or whether it's online. It is important when you're sharing a message. Now, if you're just doing your thing, I'm not saying, even if you in your fitness gear, even if you outside, you got your scarf tied up, you doing your thing, you outside, you working out, incorporate that into the message that you're sharing. But when you reach your platform and you know that you're sharing, I'm not saying I'm polished here. I'm exhausted. I have a headache right now. My eyes are watery. I don't know what's going on. I'm hungry, right? So, but I just said, let me just make myself look clean. I'm happy my eyebrows is growing in. You know what I'm saying? So, but making sure myself look clean. But you want to make sure that yes, you look like what you want to attract. Because somebody look like what you want to attract. Look like that overcomer that you are about to share. Look like that book that you are about to write. Yeah. So 21 is all about 21 is all about that, being that part, being that one, knowing that you're amazing, knowing that your message counts, knowing that you have something to share, knowing that it's still time for you to revamp your story, revamp your message, revamp the work that you are doing, highlight some of the awesomeness, and tie it into something that matters most. How does your message tie into a greater cause? Not just a me message, but a we message. How can you begin as a public speaker to share? Hey, sis, I see my sister over here. How can we share our story just not as a me message, but as a we message? Who is benefiting from this? Who is benefiting from you sharing? And I told some of us we need to go from that grown woman and going back to maybe that middle school girl, going back to that young teenage mom, going back to that young girl who was just discovering her dreams and desires at 5 and writing for that generation. There's generations and markets that we're missing public speakers because we have not tapped into it. So we may fall into this whole matrix of let me share the story of, let make it look good. But there's a whole generation who really needs that hardcore up level to know that you got to start from somewhere. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and my whole team here started from the bottom, now we here. We got to reach that. So where is your message going to tap into? Focus on that. Number 21, focus on the heart and the core of your message and your story. And I guarantee you everything else will flow. The visibility, the credibility, the profitability. People are already they already found the link that I'm talking about with my class. I don't know how they found it, but my Activate Your Vision Academy, which is on Thinkific, they already found it. And so, it's Activate Your Vision Academy.thinkific.com. Activate Your Vision Academy.thinkific.com. I'm going to post the link here, and make sure you sign up for the class that talks specifically for public speakers. I hope this has supported you. Let me type this in for my Instagram, because this is like a super long link. But guess what? Instagram, it's in my it's going to be in my bio. So Activate Your Vision Academy dot Thinkific, because this way I don't have to send you 50 million templates. You could just go there and click on the link for becoming a sought after speaker, or I believe it says public speaking made easy, and you can have access to it right there. So thanks, IG. I'm going to let you go now. I hope I supported you guys. Facebook, what's going on? Questions, comments? So we did 21. We did 21. 21 in a nutshell is show and tell. Who are you? Why does it matter? And is your core message still important? And when we are out here reaching out to speak at some of these podcasts, there's podcast interviews you can do, there's YouTube interviews right now. Focus on gaining visibility during this time. The visibility will help you stay relevant. I promise you, you will become like in the sea of sameness if you don't get your things together. This is just a list of 21. There's always things that you can do, but this should keep you busy for the whole month of April. Focus on visibility. April is your time for visibility. As you're sitting home and you got these hours, I don't care what time it is. It's 3 a.m. in New York. It may be like 3 p.m. someplace else. So there's so many different times. Don't limit yourself just to this side of the world. There's a whole global economy that you can tap into as a public speaker. And I just finished this summit, and many of those speakers, they were like, yeah, we spoke together in Haiti, and we were in Ghana and Madagascar. And I was like, I'm writing names down. I'm like, oh, I need to be a part of this circle. So you're just smooshing together and having photos together, but they're doing such impactful work. And guess who's bringing them there? Google and Microsoft and Forbes. So public speakers, let's not just limit it to the nearest women's empowerment event or your local community college. Those are great, but trust and believe there's a women's economy who are waiting for you to show up in Africa, and they have the bank to pay for your message. But let's just make sure that you have your training modules together, so whatever they need, you already have, and all you need to do is perfect it. Sure, do I have a training for young girls? Absolutely. So think about, is your message as a public speaker right now scalable and able to be leveraged?